This is the bluefin tuna, scientific name Thanis thinnis. They live in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, and sometimes in the Mediterranean Sea. They are the largest species of tuna and can weigh up to 1,000 pounds, growing up to 10 feet in length and living up to 40 years. They are fast-swimming bony fish of the family Scombridae. They are pelagic and like to live in more temperate and warm waters. As one of the biggest fish, they are a prized delicacy in many countries around the world and are therefore overfished, leading to endangerment and sometimes extinction for the species. Fishermen and scientists have studied bluefin tuna for its role as an apex predator. Bluefin tuna are major predators, feeding on mackerel and herring and hunt by sight. A tuna will spot their prey and swim powerfully and efficiently, their large streamlined bodies making them fast swimmers. Their many smart evolutionary adaptations make them able to be on the top of the food chain, eating not plankton but second or third consumers, which tend to be more sophisticated fish. A major adaptation that allows bluefin tuna to be the top of the food chain and makes them unique is that it is a thermoregulator. Tuna can maintain a body temperature of 75 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, even in very cold water. It keeps itself warm from its own metabolism using a complicated network of tissues near the surface of its scales. It uses a countercurrent exchange of blood and a circulatory system to cool the surface of itself, which keeps the core body temperature warmer. This requires a lot of food, but tunas are also better at digesting their food because they are endothermic. A tuna's muscles are also very efficient, making them faster swimmers and better at catching their prey. They can swim up to 50 miles an hour, and their bodies are adapted to travel long distances quickly, meaning they also have a high endurance level. Their bodies are long, smooth, and are tapered at both ends, making them very hydrodynamic. Bluefin tuna are distributed across the oceans and migrate thousands of miles in their lifespan. There are two confirmed spawning locations in the world, the Gulf of Mexico and the Mediterranean Sea. Nobody knows why bluefin spawn where they do. Spawning in the Gulf of Mexico happens between April and June. In the Mediterranean Sea, spawning happens from June through August. Females around age 8 mature and release about 30 million eggs each. The average lifespan for bluefin tuna is 15 to 30 years. Circling back to evolution and genetics, tuna diverged from its exothermic ancestors about 60 million years ago. During that time, oceans were cooling but warm waters formed into the tropics. Endothermy evolved in tunas, distinguishing them from their counterparts, allowing them to migrate and live in colder waters. There are other species, such as billfishes and butterfly mackerel, that have certain amounts of metabolic heat mechanisms, but none as efficient as the tunas. Bluefin tuna are found in the blue regions highlighted on the map. They migrate long distances and are suited to a variety of habitats, cold and warm. However, they are pelagic and swim in the open ocean. Bluefin tuna only spawn once a year and do not reach reproductive maturity until they are 8 to 12 years old. This is why bluefin tuna are more vulnerable to overfishing. Female Atlantic bluefins produce up to millions of eggs per year, but just a small fraction of the eggs survive to adulthood. As I mentioned before, tuna are high up on the food chain, if not at the top. They consume big fish and squid, sometimes reaching the 5th trophic level. They are constantly searching for food and eating throughout the day to maintain their big appetites. However, their role as an apex predator makes them overfished, and this is bad because the absence of bluefin tuna will affect the entire ecosystem, making their prey populations become too large. Bluefins are endangered, and we must protect them. This is the bluefin tuna. It's one of the fastest, the most powerful fishes in the sea, one that migrates through the Atlantic Ocean. It's warm-blooded and its muscles can fire up to propel it extremely quickly through the water. It's an apex predator, and we see from its anatomy how it has become such an evolutionary success. In conclusion, bluefin tuna is one of the largest fish in the ocean and is incredibly fascinating to study, whether it be its anatomy, evolutionary adaptations, or role as a top predator in an ecosystem's food chain. The main thing that evolved in tuna was being warm-blooded, or endothermic, which makes their muscles more efficient. They require a lot of food and eat bigger fishes. However, they do take a long time to mature and reproduce, and are overhunted by fishermen to be eaten. Therefore, their population is endangered, but we must protect this incredible species.